I'm afraid that much of the labor that we do in Christianity, we think that it's almost vain, that it will produce nothing, it will do nothing, it will bear no fruit. And sometimes when we see something that seems to have borne no fruit, we say, well, that bore no fruit. But how can we judge on this side of the line, on this side of heaven's gate? How can we judge what bears fruit and what does not bear fruit? I think we'll be surprised. I think our world will go topsy-turvy on the great day of judgment when we maybe find out that all the things we thought did not bear fruit bore fruit, and all the things we thought were fruitful were fruitless. Now say that 3 times. We should be optimistic about every work of God, because God begins nothing that He doesn't finish. In His economy, He does not waste time. I was talking to a girl yesterday, or 2 days ago, from Kirksville, Brother Leiter's daughter. I love her so much. She went to Romania with us, and she said, well, I think I'm going to go to the university and I'm going to study and to be a nurse. And, well, how do I, know if this is the will of God? What do I do? I said, well, first of all, what do you want to do? She said, well, I feel like I want to go study. I said, then go study. Well, what if it's wrong? God will fix it. And even if it is right, if He's telling you to study, He might send you there for all completely different reasons than what you think. You never know. Sometimes we are too mature, too adult-like. We need to be more childlike. I remember one time listening to this old preacher, and they called him on the radio. It was kind of a radio program, and this young man, so sincere, called him and said, sir, I feel just drawn into the Great Commission, and I just want to go and to a people group that doesn't know Jesus, and I just want to preach the gospel, but what if it's not God's will? And he said, son, if you get out of God's will trying to obey the Great Commission, I'm sure He'll forgive you. There's a sense in which we're so burdened down with whether we're right or we're wrong or this or that, and when I see a person like that, I have to remind them, you're trusting in your ability to hear, and you're not trusting in God's ability to lead. God's ability to lead. It's so much different. It's so different than what most Christians believe, the leadership of God. Finally, I'm sitting there preaching, I'm preaching, and then all of a sudden I said, be aware, you group. Listen to me, you young people. Listen to me. And then I said something that totally terrified me. We're going to start this meeting over again, and then partway through it, there's going to be a disturbance. There's going to be a disturbance in this thing, and we might not even be able to finish, and your chance to hear the gospel is going to be lost. And everyone, all of a sudden I thought, oh my, why did I say that? What am I doing? I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm some kind of false prophet. I'm up here like a crazy man predicting something's going to happen. Why did I even say that? We started preaching again, and all of a sudden the doors started rattling, and someone came in and made a bunch of noise and all sorts, and fear fell on the whole place. Now, I want you to see... Now, why did I give you that example? To show you not to think much of men or their ability to hear. Most people, when they saw all that happen, thought, Paul Washer is so spiritual, he heard from God, and he made a proclamation. It was so clear from God what he heard that he told us, and it came true. That's not the way it happened at all, is it? All of a sudden, for some reason totally unknown to me, I said that. And it scared me to death, because I thought, why did I say that? I don't even know why I said that. And it happened. Now, that is a perfect example. Believers in the Bible and believers today end up right where God wants them to be. And for the most part, it's not because they heard His voice or heard a vision or anything else, or their great ability to discern the voice of God. It's the great ability of God to lead. And many times we don't even recognize it was the will of God until we look back and see the hand of providence all through our lives. And so so many people are timid, thinking, well, I feel like I might want to do this, but I'm just afraid to step out. There's an open door here, but I'm afraid to go through it because I might be wrong. Not me. I've got a little, I don't want to say a deal with God, but it's basically like this. God, if it's an open door, I'm going through it. If you don't want me to go through it, close it. And when I'm trying to go through what I think is an open door and it closes smack in my face, and carnal Christians look at me like, well, guess if you didn't hear from God, it doesn't bother me in the least. There's all kinds of little white ivory theologians out there who are always critical about other people trying to follow God. They never do anything and they never amount to much. I always tell young people, I say, listen, if God's called you to go to Indonesia, then buy a plane ticket and go to Indonesia. If you can't afford a plane ticket, then, well, just get on a boat and God will get you there. There's a real sense in which God, when He calls, He makes a way. And not only does He make a way, He gives the grace to carry it through. Carry it through. God gives you everything you need in order to obey His will. That's why sometimes timid Christians will say things like, I feel like God maybe is calling me to start a Bible study, or God has called me, or the pastor has asked me to help in this area, but I just don't think I have what it takes to do it. Well, that was never the question. Everyone is in agreement with you that you don't have what it takes. Come on, Einstein, we all know that. The whole question is not whether or not you have what it takes to do it, is are you going to depend on God? Like I was saying yesterday in the youth meeting, I was so excited. I saw something that just so encouraged me. There wasn't a piano player or anything, and Brother Bob asked the girls, he goes, you think you could play that song? Most teenagers I know would slump down and say, no, I can't, and giggle and be embarrassed because they're afraid they're going to fail, and no, I don't feel comfortable. This girl said, well, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I can play maybe with one hand. Any other response is pride. Pride. Because fear of failure is many times just wrapped up in your pride, your fear of losing your reputation. Sure, I'll give it a shot. What if you fail? Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I don't care.
You see, God gave life goals in biblical times. Life goals controlled the life, and life goals could be a biblical pattern you might like to apply to your own life today. One of the problems is the wrong people are using the right methods. You see, the annals of commercial history are dotted with the famous and the rich who set life goals to achieve what many thought was the impossible. Australia's most famous would have to be a person called Sidney Kidman, who, as a 13-year-old boy with almost no education, in the late 19th century left home for a perilous journey into the formidable outback of Australia. This young boy had come from a large family and worked in the cattle yard since he was 10 years of age. And now, at 13 years of age, with a one-eyed aged horsey called Cyclops, and $50 in savings, he set out to learn the cattle business in the big cattle farms in Australia. Sidney had a dream. And the dream was to focus itself into a life goal to breed and market cattle in the cheap, unpredictable, wild areas of Australia, and through a string of his properties stretching from the north to the south of Australia, following the waterways to keep the new colony fed and expand markets around the world. Sidney Kidman became the biggest property owner, the biggest cattle owner the world has ever seen. He was affectionately known as the Cattle King. He was knighted by the king. Sidney had a dream. W. Clement Stone, I worked with him for over 20 years. He built the Combined Insurance Company of America. As a young boy, he lived without a father and was blessed with a remarkable mother, and from his humble beginnings became by choice and by planned life goals the most respected and one of the wealthiest life insurance men in the world. Oh, I used to ask him many times about those early days, and he spoke of confidence of reaching his life goals. He was known throughout the world as Mr. PMA, Mr. Positive Mental Attitude. and 10 minutes in His presence would change your life. Who else has life goals? Explorers. They have an incredible track record toward the life goal commitment, and any explorer worth his salt commits a life to danger, discomfort. Christopher Columbus had a dream that the earth was round. Everyone else said it was flat. They said if you go out of the sight of land itself, you'll fall over the edge of the world into the fires of hell itself. He took a frightened crew. He faced mountainous seas, mutiny, scurvy. He popped up the other side and he proved that the world was round. And by the way, he did it with borrowed money. And I wish I had time to go in a lot further. I've just done an analytical study of 2,000 years of history. But on the basis of our history and the magnificent achievement of humanity, we must look at the many areas of inactivity and dullness of our generation and ask the provocative question, what has happened to that historical heritage that has been handed down to us from the giants of old, and why are we not responding to it? What's happened to us? I'll tell you what's happened. We've turned off our dream machine. We've just turned it off. How long has it been, or has it ever been, that you've taken one full day off, got away from everyone, and just dreamed what God could do with your life? Or take a week off, it'll revolutionize your life. You'll never be the same human being again. You see, we need to take time to dream into reality. Dreaming is not a waste of time. God will not give you a dream without giving you the ability to fulfill that dream. So dream big. Dream believing. Dream with a purpose. Dream on paper. Nail down the dream and remove the nightmares. Put life into your dream, live the dream, work the dream, plan the dream, expand the dream, and then break out of the dream cocoon and give it the permanence of planning. Wherever I go around the world, people stop me and they say, how did you do it? I mean, you're dyslexic, you were ill, you've never passed a grade at school, you went broke 3 times, you paid it back. How did you do it? Well, I learned to lean on my dreams at times of disappointment, lean on my dreams at times of frustration, lean on my dreams at times of failure, lean on my dreams at times of reassessment. Well, how could I do that? Because my Bible tells me about a man called Joseph who became the prime minister under slavery. You see, we have to turn back on our dream machine and do not treat your dreams as community property. Dreams are the birthplace of goals. Be careful who you share your dreams with. Hebrews 8:5 and Exodus 25:40 says the same thing. See that you make everything according to the pattern shown to you on the mountaintop. When God gives you a mountaintop experience, don't wait till you get down the valley to start to plan. Now, goals are dreams that come true, the unreachable that becomes a reality, the future that becomes a present, the you that you really ought to be. And this last evening is for those with big dreams, high ideals, a life ready, willing and able to be spent. It's for those rare individuals who are prepared to open their life to excellence by planned achievement through goal setting. Goal setting is a logical, fulfilling approach to dynamic living.